Morning everybody, good day, whenever you get a chance to watch this video. It is Monday, May 11th, 2020. The days just keep on moving. Just keep on moving, baby, keep on moving. Hey, I hope you guys all had a great weekend. I hope you're having a great morning, afternoon, great Monday overall. Saturn went retrograde last night, so really a stationary retrograde right now. Saturn's not really moving, which I found these cool charts from Astro Gold. Oh, by the way, it's Brian Scarborough here with Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. Can't be forgetting the slogan for these videos, you know? So these charts are pretty cool. I'll probably start using these more for the videos. But as you can see, Saturn right here, poof, retrograde, and right here shows how fast it's moving, which is just 5 seconds. So literally not moving. I mean, that's in a whole day. That's as stationary gets. So it's just chilling right now in Aquarius, and it's going to be slowly as I've been talking a little bit about retrogrades just because there's so many coming up right now. So retrogrades are when the Earth, because we're all revolving around the sun, right? And astrology is from the Earth's point of view of the planets and the sun and the zodiac and all the constellations and all that. So what happens is when the Earth, so say Saturn goes retrograde and it's out there past Jupiter, so we're all going around the sun counterclockwise, and the Earth is moving faster because the orbit's tighter. So what happens is the Earth, or Saturn's out here, and the Earth comes around and passes Saturn in transit. So from our point of view, we see Saturn in front of us until we get past it. Then we're just looking at it direct as we're kind of just creeping ahead. And then what happens is we really start to break away. And that creates the illusion that that planet is moving backwards. And that energy is what makes it so that we feel like we have to go back and pick things up. Because the planets don't actually retrograde. They don't actually move backwards. It's just an illusion from Earth's point of view. But astrology is, from Earth's point of view, it's what affects us, and we live on this planet. So it's very much just relevant to here. Like as far as like the planets go around the sun, obviously like a retrograde doesn't even exist because everything's going around the sun in perfect harmony. Nothing's stopping and going the other way. Just want to make that clear. I don't know how many people know that about retrogrades or not, but it's simply an illusion from Earth as we are passing a planet in transit. So hopefully that makes sense. Really, everything's slowing down. Like you can see, things are slowing down. The sun and the moon, the sun's just it's slow going in Taurus. It's just like how Taurus is. It's that slow bull, unless they see something they like, then they go run towards it. But that's just that. And the only thing really moving fast right now is Mercury and Mars. Not the perfect circle, but Mercury's ripping at 2 degrees 7 minutes a day. So Mercury today at 3:33, a little bit before that, about a little after 3. Mercury is moving into Gemini in its home sign, and that's another thing that we're going to talk about today. So that's Saturn retrograde, boom, here in red. First full day we're coming into Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, and it's very much, we're picking up things. We're going to deal with some karma, whether it be good karma, bad karma. What you get is usually what you gave out. So, you know, if Saturn isn't a bad retrograde at all, and I talked about this in a horoscope that I wrote up, but it's just about picking up what we might have left behind, dealing with things and growing, and it can be like really positive growth. Sometimes Saturn just wants to take a break because he works so hard all the time to keep us in line and to keep time here on Earth, going, that when he retrogrades every year, he's kind of taking a break and saying, all right, you're going to sit back and deal with what you just went through, and we're going to move forward from there. Which, on a collective scale, with the way things are with everything right now, is like, shaky. On an individual level, I think so many people are going to come into like great, just they're going to start figuring out like connections with people in Aquarius, and they only just got a taste of Aquarius, like barely like 1 degree, almost hit 2 degrees. That's like nothing of Aquarius. Like people that are talking about this retrograde being in Aquarius, I mean, it's just got a little taste, like a couple months of Aquarius, and that's just like the baby degrees where it's like just kind of seeing what it's like, and seeing if we want to innovate and change things, where it's going to really retrograde back into Capricorn. It's home where it wants us to get to business, and it wants us to we got to go back into those later degrees of Capricorn where it feels a little restrictive and got to get things done, and that's where I think things are going to get weird this year, is when you get that Capricorn, all that energy in Capricorn without the South Node being there, and then Saturn starts to conjunct with, that's not what I want to draw. Capricorn starts to conjunct with Jupiter and Pluto. And Jupiter is going to go retrograde this week as well, on the 15th. So it's just it's going to be an interesting few months. We'll see what happens, but I don't, I just think there's still a lot of stuff as a collective that we got to figure out. There's just so much uncertainty with how we're living right now, and I think as this year progresses, we're going to start to see more and more of like where we want to go. But it's these retrogrades that are really going to reflect, and that's what's going to really propel us when things start moving direct again and we start moving forward. This is the time when we're really going to start to feel a little weird, like we already, like kind of deja vu, like we might have already went through it and felt it, but then now we're feeling it even more because that illusion of the South Node being there, and that like everything's okay, kind of. We'll see. We'll see. Today at 3:30, Mercury moves into its home sign of Gemini. So this is great. This is like we're coming into a lot of truth. Our mind's firing quick. We're feeling good. Our intellect is strong. Gemini is mutable air, so it's very much like quick intellect, quick energy, and it should help us communicate and really find truth. And it's a community aspect. That's really what Gemini is, especially with the North Node in Gemini now. It's like we're going to be able to come together as communities and start to figure out like really what we're going to do. I know it's funny because I just heard that like my town might be opening up a lot of the small businesses downtown again. So that's good. Like I'm happy to hear that, and I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't get weird because of that. I know they want to like take temperatures before you walk into stores, but be careful, man. Don't let people take your rights away, you know? And I'm worried about the temperature thing because they're using those head ones, and that's not very accurate. Like it's coming into summer, it's getting hot outside, and like you could be walking around outside and go get your temperature taken, burp, and they scan your head and it's going to show that you're hot. And it's like, what happens when it says you're hot? Are they just gonna, do they call the cops on you? Do they have you taken away? Like, I don't know. Just be careful. That's all I can say is be careful and maybe keep your own thermometer on you so you can like, I don't know. I'm probably not going to give anybody my business if they try and take my forehead temperature before I walk in, but that's just me. So, yep, Gemini, home sign. So Mercury's dignified. Mercury is the second strongest planet in the solar system right now, behind Saturn, because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn and co-ruler of Aquarius. So Saturn is exalted in, or basically dignified in Aquarius. It says it's the ruler, but I consider Uranus the ruler of Aquarius. personally. I know Saturn is the co-ruler, but I give the dignified to Uranus because Aquarius is just all about like being your true self, being unique, helping humanity, and Uranus is very much the god of the skies. And anyways, Saturn's there. Saturn's extremely strong. This is the score. Saturn's plus 10. You know, so Saturn is ruling everything, and then Mercury being at home in Gemini is plus 7. I don't know why it keeps doing that. But anyways, that plus 7 score. So we're going to be thinking, our intellect's going to be sharp, and I think truths are going to be coming out, and people are going to start realizing more and more like what's really going on. And we're also getting this trine over to Saturn. It just went retrograde today. So I think we're going to realize like what made us feel restricted and what was not making us feel connected, and we're going to start voicing and getting out of that and moving forward and try and take the right steps. Try and take the right steps to just getting out of this weird little vibe we're in. I think on a personal level, this is just going to help people communicate and connect with others, and be be themselves. Like if you have some like good ideas, just say them and channel that energy into something that's going to help you and help others. Mercury in Gemini can, if bored, really want to gossip and spread things and just kind of like play mind games. But if you channel that energy into something that involves love and connecting with people, I think that's when you're really going to feel like you're doing the most with the energy you have, and it's going to make you feel good and connected. And I think most of us would like to feel good and connected. Maybe not. Some people are extremely introverted. I'm a little introverted too, but I still really enjoy connecting and helping people. That's definitely my passion. The sun's moving into the last third of Taurus, which is great. I think we're really, really on a soul level going to come into our value, come into a self-love, and I always look at the last 10 degrees of a sign as like the mature aspects of the sign, and then the early degrees, like Saturn and Aquarius, is like the baby phase of the sign. And that's why we talk about this 20-degree Neptune, because that's that deep. Are we listening to God? Are we listening to our guides? Are we listening to the signs? Because if we're not, we could easily stray and go down the wrong path. And that could be by not connecting to people and putting people down and putting yourself down and living in apathy and a lot of things that don't feel good. So, that's that never-ending square over to Venus. It's like, are you doing things that make you feel good? Are you listening to your intuition that makes you feel good? Or are you letting the outside world trick you and make you not feel good? We'll see. I hope you guys feel great. So, we're kind of coming off this square from Mars and Mercury today. We're still feeling it a little bit this morning. This can be, it can feel like a challenge going through this transition where we were just thinking so much about maybe what we value in Taurus and like ourself, and that's talking about Mercury, but then we're coming into Aquarius where it's more community and more, speaking to someone else and like not so much just yourself. It's more of a two-person or more vibe, a small group vibe. So it's, are we fighting for, not are we fighting, but are we putting our actions in the right place? Are we taking action for the betterment of the people around us, or are we just thinking about ourselves maybe too much? And I think sometimes we just got to pump the brakes and consider other people's truths. They're valid just like your own. So you don't want to impose your will too much on anybody. Just you can always put your truth out there, speak your mind, especially that's Mercury in Gemini. Speak your mind and your truth, but it's really important to realize that everybody has a truth and an opinion, and you don't want to get upset and think that somebody's just an idiot or whatever because they have an opinion. Like, if it doesn't resonate with you, just let them have theirs. You don't have to impose too much will on them. Mars is moving into Pisces today, or not today, I'm sorry, this week, and that is interesting spot for Mars. I like Mars in Aquarius, where we're really like trying to figure new shit out and like take the right step forward and innovate. And now Mars moves into Aquarius, where it's like, did I do the right thing? Was I making the right decisions? Was I innovating? Like, it gets a little confused, and it's kind of like a lost puppy if you're really not listening to your guides and taking advantage of things that were presented to you. So it's just one of those things. Like, Pisces is slippery. Pisces is slippery. That's why it's the two fish. It can go one way or the other. It can be super weird endings. It could be drugs, drinking. It could just be all these different things, and it can also be spiritual enlightenment. It can be talking to God, and it's so slippery because it all depends on you and where you're at. And if you're not in a good place, Pisces can be like one of the worst places to be, but it can also be the biggest wake up and the biggest it can just put you on that right path, and then Aries comes after and you start over fresh. So it's like you take what you learned throughout the whole zodiac year, and that's like Mars is going to take all the stuff that it learned and it's going to put that into action and find out if it was doing the right thing. And then when it comes into Aries, it's like, okay, now I'm going to find myself again and evolve and keep doing this all over again. Yeah, just the retrogrades are coming, so not like it's a bad thing. This happens especially with Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter. Like, this is every year. So it's just a part of the cycle of life. Like, there's nothing to worry about. It's not like it's not normal. It's as normal as it gets. It's in perfect harmony, and everything's as it should be in the universe. So try to be with the flow in that aspect. This is a chart of tomorrow evening, almost before noon, and Venus will be going retrograde exactly then. I did it to the minute. So Pacific time, 11:46 p.m. in California is where Venus will be going retrograde. And Mars actually just comes into Pisces as that happens, and still putting on a little square with Mercury in Gemini. So the Venus retrograde is going to feel the weirdest, I think, out of all the retrogrades. I really think that Venus one, especially with the just never-ending square to Neptune, because Venus is going to go all the way back to 5 degrees of Gemini before it comes direct and starts moving forward for the rest of the year. So that, this is the start of the 40 days and 40 nights of the Venus retrograde, and it's really going to put our love and our values and how we communicate that to the test. And it can be very karmic in that sense, where if you weren't communicating well and if you didn't set yourself up right, like, you might have to deal with a lot more karmic lessons of love than maybe you'd want to, because those are hard ones. I mean, it's hard enough dealing with ourselves, but man, when we got to deal with someone else's emotions on that level, like, at least in my experiences, that's always been difficult. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys learned about retrogrades. Things are moving every day. Every day things are moving. I hope everybody feels great. On an individual level, you control your reality and you make life what it is. So be positive, use gratitude, and all those good things. Let's see what the card for the day is. Pulled the Devil card. Don't let your demons, don't let your demons come out onto other people, I think is what this is talking about. I mean, as we're moving in to Gemini and Mercury, it's like we don't have to control other people. I just think this is about control. And especially with this square to Mars, it's like we can't be controlling other people right now. We really have to control ourselves and take action for ourselves and break these spells. Break these spells that like make you think that like you're better than someone else or someone's better than you, or because someone's on the news wearing a suit that like they run your life and they can tell you what to do. Like, you run your life. You own your, you are you. Don't let the devil don't let the devil get you. And it's not even like a bad card. It's just like reflection. And that's also the retrogrades. It's time to reflect and take our power back. And I think when we take our power back, we're going to get out of those grips of feeling restricted. And that's what these retrogrades are going to do this year. It's going to be a big wake-up call to many people. And we got to stop trying to control people. Control yourself. Let other people do whatever they're doing. As long as they're not physically hurting somebody or anything that's alive or whatever, like, you don't have to be upset with them. Like, let them have their opinion. They're more than entitled to voice their opinion, just as you are entitled to voice your opinion. Fun card. I'm going to pull another card. Why did we get the Devil card? Justice. 2 major arcana. Justice reversed. There's no balance. There's no balance right now. Things are fucking weird. We got to go back and pick up the shells. Like, that's what these retrogrades, that's what this is saying. Like, things are not as they seem. We might feel like things are kind of going back to normal right now, and they're not. And we got to stop. It's controlled. It needs to stop. There's not enough balance, and there's not justice. Like, we got to fight for our human rights, and we got to stop letting people take them. Kind of like when I talked about that thermometer thing. Like, don't let somebody take your rights away because you were walking around this summer and your head was warm and you wanted to go buy something from their store, but then who knows, they call the cops on you or something ridiculous because you are warm, because you're sweating. Like, I don't want to scare people, but we got to fight for our rights. That's what these cards are saying. And that's what the astrology is saying this year too. So, I love you all. I truly do. I hope you guys fight for your rights, and I hope you guys really, I just want everybody to be safe and to live in love. Don't force things on other people, and you have control of your reality, so if something doesn't feel right, that's your intuition telling you that that's not right for you. We gotta listen to that sometimes. I love you all. I will see you tomorrow. Take care.